Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave.
Alright.
And Stephen.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
I'm good, mate. You?
I'm good. A bit tired, but good.
First day in your job?
Aye. First day at new job, so, you think, right, I'll be sensible. So I set up all this stuff for the podcast last night, got the room ready, and I went to bed nice and early at 10 o'clock, and then I got up at 3 o'clock to watch the Royal Rumble, because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, you are an idiot.
But it was absolutely brilliant.
And we've been here since 5 o'clock.
I know, I'm
and
sorry
it's
for that.
6:30.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But we had Empire Biscuits and we looked at some stats, which we'll look forward to later
We
on.
did. What are you going to say about wrestling?
It was great. It was really enjoyable. Some really good fun returns. Anybody that watched it, I'm sure they enjoyed it because it was really good. I should do a wrestling podcast. Anyway, how are you doing, Stephen? You seem to have a bit of the sniffles. How you feeling?
Honestly, mate, I'm so tired.
You've had a lot less sleep than me.
23 minutes combined last night.
23 minutes.
Yep.
Wow.
Last time in the Royal Rumble last week.
Can't even speak.
So bad. And I've just done a 10-hour shift.
So what you're saying is don't have kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it.
So you're going to be even more crab than normal?
Hi.
That's
You
good.
can't what it is. I'm
Right.
actually past the point of being crabbit that I'm too tired to be crabbit because it takes too much effort.
What about yourself, Dave? How you getting on?
I'm good.
Good weekend.
No, I worked the whole weekend, so obviously missed all the football.
Aye.
Oh well, can't do much about that.
Working retail, so aye. So everyone's off to your map and he's on the
Gotta make
Motherwell
money.
game. But before we get in the Motherwell game, obviously we're going to milk this January transfer window for all we can. So Jack Ross talking about getting at least 2 more in this window and potentially a third. It looks like none of them are going to be before tomorrow's game because he can't register anybody. So concentration seems to be, the talk today was the concentrations for the Dundee United game, and then after that, but I mean, we're going to look through all the players and what they could potentially bring. So what has Jack Ross been saying, Dave, about McGinn?
No, his exact words were, we've made an inquiry about the possibility of Paul signing, and then he said that Hibs were given encouragement when they approached, and it's now just a case of trying to bring him into the club, and hopefully we'll be able to do that over the next couple of days. It would be helpful for me, that's what he said. And he said, I've spoken about the need for reinforcements in defence, but I am reluctant to speak too much about it until it's done because he's still a St Mirren player and Jim's player, but we're in the process of agreeing something, so it's basically happening.
So what he's saying is that St Mirren have Paul McGinn.
Yes.
St Mirren have Paul McGinn.
Yes.
He's Jim Goodwin's man.
I see where you're going there. I was so confused. I was like, yes.
But he has 6 months left in his contract and we're trying to get it done now. Doesn't really fit as well as the other song, but yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm sure we'll milk that if we sign him.
we will milk it because it's the same amount of syllables and the Paul McGinn fits right in there. So, kind of works.
So, I mean, it's the last week's transfer window. We've been linked with a striker, finally linked with a defensive midfielder, which I'm getting excited about. And, well, a midfielder that can play defensive midfield, it looks like, when we're kind of looking at it. But we'll get back to that in a second. So, a couple of strikers and McGinn as well at right back. So, yeah, we'll just get on it. We've kind of looked up some stats to kind of see how, I mean, stats only tell you so much because a lot of it depends on how teams are playing and things. But we've kind of looked up some stats. We've kind of picked a position each. And we're going to look at the players we've been linked with and what they could potentially offer. So, Dave, starting with yourself, you've looked at the right back position. So, I believe you've got some stats for McGinn, Nisbet, and a couple for David Gray as well to kind of get a baseline of where to go.
Yeah, I do. So, Paul McGinn is a Scottish footballer who's played as a defender for same jokes in like space of a couple of weeks. Who says you can't milk it? So Paul McGinn, obviously older brother of John, played 22 games this season. The only thing that's a wee bit concerning, I don't know if it's maybe the way St Mirren play, it would maybe change if we came to us, but 0 assists and 0 goals. It's obviously something that we've touched on with the lack of service from our full-backs already as it is.
I mentioned last week that Lewis Stevenson's last assist, Quentin Wyscout, and it was the Rangers 5-5 game.
Yeah.
I believe you've got a stat on David Gray's last.
David Gray's last assist was Halloween 2017, which is a scary thought.
It's a shame you told that joke earlier, and I've already used my natural laugh.
I'm
It
just
It was
tired
really
to
good. I
laugh.
hope people laughed at home.
It
at
was
that.
quite a good joke, eh?
Yeah, it's really
Halloween.
scary thought.
I was impressed.
Boom. Aye, so that's quite concerning. And then Naismith in just 13 matches this season's managed to obviously chip in with 3 assists and 1 goal.
Yeah,
So
which is great. He was really good going forward.
it's not too shabby at all. And then crossing accuracy for Paul McGinn, 26%. And how does that compare to Naismith? Naismith's only 19%.
Right. How many are they getting per game?
Naismith's getting more in a match. Davy Gray and Naismith both averaged 3 to Paul McGinn's 2, but that might change. We will naturally attack a lot more with than St Mirren would. Crosses, we've just done that. Just because I looked at my notes, it's fine. Skim past it. Interceptions, 4.5 a game for Paul McGinn. 3 for Naismith, and 5 for Davy Gray.
Right.
So Davy Gray obviously reads the game pretty good and gets kind of stuck in. And then when it comes to defensive duels, it's actually quite similar across the board. McGinn 66, his duels he's won. Davy Gray is 67 and Naismith's 52.
Just to say this, that these stats about David Gray are from last season.
They are from last season, not from this season.
Because obviously,
games.
he's hardly played this season. So, I mean, Stephen, kind of hearing the stats there, kind of some bits are quite similar. You know, obviously, overall the stats seem all right. But do you think the ones that are maybe lower would improve in a more attacking team like Hibs?
Don't think so.
No, you're not excited by this signing. Even he's again.
It's probably worth saying that he's played a few games at centre back as well this
Yeah.
season. So
That's fair enough. He'd be
Which
better,
is handy, what we need.
better suited as a right centre back in a 3-5-2. Because that's the thing though. Like we talk about attacking fullbacks and that. Put Boyle on the right.
I think Boyle's wasted. I think he's too talented a player.
But
to
how
play right
many
wing back.
crosses will he put in? He can take it past 4 people on the right side.
Yeah.
Like he's got pace. He can get past players now. He's got an end product. Put him as a right wing back like he was last season, 2 seasons ago.
did you not get the memo talking about Paul McGinn?
Yeah, I'm just about to say that Paul McGinn looks pish. I'm not excited by it at all, to be honest.
Any chance to just start talking about 3-5-2 Stephen will take, and he will completely take over the whole stage.
Any chance to start talking about him again, joining Hibs, I get excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a tingly sensation that's going to end in disappointment, but there's a sex joke in there somewhere. But yeah, I just like, I don't know, I'd be quite excited. I worry though, 29, you know, you could argue that that's maybe the peak of his career, but what's that?
It doesn't look like he's got any pace either. Like the games that I've saw him play against us, it doesn't look like he's got any pace going up and down the park.
I've not seen him enough to have like a massive opinion on him, to be honest. I just
And this is one of the reasons but behind the scenes I couldn't find my phone before recording. So but one of the group chat, the Billy was saying that his Dundee mate said something like, I think it was, he's the best fullback they've had in 15 years, or the best right back they've had in 15 years.
Yeah.
And Callum said something as well, which was quite good about him.
That is Dundee that we're talking about though, to be fair.
That was only a few years ago.
Yeah. Still pish.
Yeah. Why are you not getting excited, Stephen? I mean, we've only seen them limited times, and we can only go off a couple of stats.
You can what actually, right? To be honest, we shouldn't go off any stats when it comes to Hibs, because Canberra's stats were pish before he came to Hibs. He's been probably one of our best strikers since he joined the club. McLaren's stats, he wasn't getting a game before he came to Hibs. Stats improved when he came to Hibs. Boyle as well wasn't doing much at Dundee before he came to us.
Boyle was younger
Did a wee
though, and
bit
has
more.
improved.
Yeah, well, same with Canberra and that. What goes a 29-year-old coming into our squad, because he's not really got much time for improvement.
In terms of rebuilding the defence, I was kind of hoping for folk a couple of years younger, but I don't know if it's maybe a short term thing.
The best thing for us to do is just keep James for the end of till the end of the season, keep him playing, and then bring Naismith back on a permanent deal.
But would you rather see somebody like Paul McGinn given a chance to step up to a club at Hibs? He's been in Scottish football for how many years now? Like his whole career.
I think so, I don't know.
So he's been playing in Scottish football rather than bringing in James, who doesn't know about the league, and then can he make the step?
Well, that's fine. That means that you've got to make a decision whether James should stay in Scottish football or not.
We're going to come back to James more in a minute. So, but obviously he's hardly playing any games, so we don't really have him as a comparison for the stats. So that was the right back potential signing. That one kind of looks like it's going to happen. Sorry, Stephen. But from the way that Goodwin's talking, the fact he's played every game and then he didn't play against Aberdeen, I was kind of hoping to see him.
Maybe should show that enthusiasm and giving us Kyle McGuinness as well then.
He's out for the season.
He's out for the season.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. When it comes to the summer, McGinn was out for the season before we signed him.
True. But no, I think, the fact he's played every game is encouraging. The fact that this is only the first game he's been dropped because of the speculation linking him with Hibs. He's obviously a fit player, ready to come in, ready to go. No, like you say, knows the Scottish game, so yeah. So the next position, we're finally linked with a defensive midfielder. Stephen, should I get excited?
I'm not even convinced he is a defensive midfielder.
Come on, I want my defensive midfielder.
Amos Yuga. He's played 8 league games this season. He's got I don't even really know why I'm reading these stats because
But okay, if the stats are that good, just give us the baseline. Like
Stephen reading out a new signing to anybody isn't going to inspire hope. So listen, what you're trying to get him to do here.
So last season,
right,
played 25 games.
That's a bit better.
Got 2 goals. So if he is a defensive midfielder, he's on par with Marvin Bartley for this season.
Right.
No assists. 76% passing.
That's great. Good.
Yeah. Average.
It's so hard to please.
61% aerial duels.
That's alright.
And considering most of the aerial duels are one in the middle of the park, just above half. 8 passes into the final third. 14 forward passes, 5 back passes, which is encouraging. But then again, like we were discussing before, it's down to man management and coaching.
Mm-hmm. But it's that so to me that jumps out that he's trying to get the ball forward.
So when he's at Hibs, so that'll reverse, and it'll be 14 back passes and 5 forward passes. So
that's a good thing, though. That's a good thing. If somebody does come in and start playing that way, then it really does back up the theory that it's how Hibs are trying to play rather than.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's Amos Yuga for you.
So you're excited by him?
He'll be signed tomorrow.
Playing in the French League 2 now, maybe a bit of a transition coming over, but I don't know where this report came from even. I'm great.
Edinburgh Evening News reported it, and then a Twitter account, a French football Twitter account, had said that Barnsley and Hibs had inquired about him. So
thank you for doing my research for me, Dave.
He's going to Barnsley.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, I mean, we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But
Sounds
it's
like
good to see that we're trying to identify a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
Now, the last position is forward. Now, before we get on to the players we're linked with, do you think a forward coming in is going to happen, or is it only going to happen if Flo and or Boyle leave?
And no, we need a forward. Because for me, Boyle's no a natural forward. So
Boyle, Flo, Doidge and Gullen are not enough for you for the rest of the season?
No.
Stephen?
With the 2 that we're linked with, I'd rather just keep the 4 that we've got.
He's on a mission to be so negative today.
That's fine. Just leave him. Nisbet? You wouldn't take Nisbet?
No.
What? Here is why you should take Nisbet.
Right, crack on.
Let's go.
So, I mean, the 2 players we've been linked with, so I do have some kind of stats to compare down with Doidge, but the players we've been linked with are Nisbet and McNulty. Nisbet seems to be getting a bit of, like this could actually happen. Which, if it is, then great that Hibs are actually going to spend money on a young laddie that, is going to have sell-on value further down the line.
And we've got to spend 350 grand.
I don't know how much we're going to spend on him, Stephen. I'm not privy to that information. But the information I am privy to is he has played 22 games this season and scored 17 goals. To compare that with McNulty, he's played 15 games and only scored the 2. Now, obviously, he's playing a Sunderland team that haven't been doing that great, but at the end of the day, he's a forward. He's not scoring goals from playing games. He is averaging 4.58 touches in the box compared to McNulty only getting 2.44. So again, that could come down to the way the team's playing. These stats only tell you so much. But again, you could also put it down to forwards' movements and things like that. So, or creating chances himself. So Nisbet is definitely outperforming him pretty much in all the stats. I know people are going to say, yeah, but Nisbet's playing in the Championship, whereas McNulty's playing in England. But McNulty has struggled since he left Hibs. He's really not done well at Sunderland.
Which brings me on to my next point, Gav.
Mm-hmm.
After all the moaning, when I was saying we should sign Shankland, Pooh Nisbet played alongside it here, right? You says that we shouldn't sign Shankland because he's not proven in the Premier League.
That.
You says that we shouldn't have Shankland.
Go back and find the audio.
I will go back and find audio because you said it in multiple podcasts that Shankland wasn't good enough for Hibs. And you wanted Nisbet, who was second fiddle Shankland when he was at Ayr. That's what I'm saying.
I've said about Shankland, if it's true that he's on $6,000 a week, I wouldn't have ruined our wage budget just for one player. But I guess if he's scoring so many goals and he's worth £1 million, then maybe he should have. Nisbet, he's doing really well. Dave, thoughts on Nisbet?
I think he's probably more promising for like a future selling and that as well, because that's what we like to do anyway, sell on for more, which is not a bad model, I suppose. I think if we spend money on McNulty, he would come in. I think it would obviously be a loan initially, and then maybe we have you to sign. Is that what you think?
I think it'd be a 6-month loan.
Just a 6 months loan and that bit.
I hope I'm wrong, but
yeah. That's what I mean. I don't think we'd get to sign him, and we'd be paying a lot in wages. He'd probably straight away become top earner for somebody that's in a 6 month loan. And I just think if we got the opportunity to sign Nisbet on a few years deal, then I think I would prefer that over McNulty.
Yeah, it's one of the fans I think could get behind, get excited about. See him develop, get better. He's still young. Could maybe strike up a partnership with Doidge or Canberry, maybe both. I don't know. I think it'd be a lot more exciting going forward to get him. But so that's who I want. He's hopeful of getting 2 in the door. So, I
do think it'll be McNulty and McGinn and possibly a defensive midfielder. I don't see. I don't think we'll get Nisbet. I don't know why, but it's probably part of my inner Stephen coming out. Just it'd be a good thing. So I kind of see it happening.
Fair enough. I mean, Dunfermline did sign a striker on loan today
from Celtic,
which could be opening the door for a replacement. So there is that little bit of hope there. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm excited by this. Even being linked with Nisbet, I think it's a positive sign. I think it's the right sort of people we should be looking at. He's playing in a worse team than Shankland, so he's a better player than Shankland. Heard it if you're here first. I'm just saying that to wind up Stephen. His head's sunk into the microphone there. But nah, I mean, so this has been quite rambly. It's not been as structured as I thought. But they're the kind of players. I mean, so is the transfer window. It's so all these names get thrown up, and so we've just sort of chucked out some stats and compared them to what we've got at the moment, and hopefully now you're a bit more clued up into the players we've been linked with and whether we should sign them or not. Now I'm sure a lot of people aren't here for the Motherwell analysis with it being a 0-0 draw, but we're going to obviously touch on it. I was on the one at the game, so it's mainly going to be my opinion. I'll try and tailor some questions to you guys. I know you've seen the extended highlights and stuff, but one of the main talking points coming out of it was Tom James, and there's a couple of questions which we've kind of got, which we'll come back to in a second. But is it natural for a player to come back when they haven't played any games and be really rusty?
Gray come back and done well against Dundee United.
Who?
Gray.
I don't think he did. No, I didn't think David Gray was up to much against Dundee United. I thought he looked quite poor. Thought he looked poor the other night as well. But what I would say about the James one is that he'll be rusty in the terms of like strikers running at him and that, and just what to do in the game situation. But he'll also probably be quite eager to impress and nervous, and I know whenever that happens, you can just make wrong decisions, and he did that. Boy at the end of the day skint him a couple of times. But again, it's what I go back to. Somebody can take the ball by somebody and it'll be a disaster.
I hate making this comparison, I never thought I would, but Joe Newell came back into the squad after not playing for weeks because he was shite, and then he came back in and he's probably been one of the best performers for Hibs.
Yeah, he was cracking the other night. I don't know, how did they play at Motherwell, Gav?
I thought he was one of the best players. I mean, the system didn't really work in terms of 4-4-2, and I was pleased that this is kind of coming up on I was going to make later on, but I was pleased that Jack Ross changed it to okay, changing it didn't work either, but at least he was trying something. We praised him for changing it, and it worked against St Mirren. No, Hamilton. Talking about St Mirren with Paul McGinn earlier, but I feel that at least he was trying to change it. It didn't work. Scott Allen, to me, still off the boil. I think that was one of the talking points I've got. I think Scott Allen came on, played 2 good passes, and other than that, offered nothing. The shape change was kind of good, but Allen offered nothing in that position. I think he's really off form at the moment, which is frustrating to see, especially with how excited you were before he came back.
Yeah, I was dying for him to be in the team, and now there's definitely an argument to say that he shouldn't be starting.
So just one of your questions here was Josh Hart asking Oscar honest opinions on Tom James. Is he's someone who can find his feet at Hibs, or is it better to send him packing? Personally, I'd keep him. So I mean, it seemed that Motherwell noticed that he was having a tough game and started playing the ball down the left hand side, and were beating him again and again. And I mean, in the first half, he only had 3 successful defensive duels. He got beat time and time again. But to be fair to him, the second half was slightly better. I was looking at this earlier on. Whilst the Y Scout loads, I think it was like 13 defensive duels he managed in the second half. It'll load up in a second and we'll come back to
it. Do you want me to hum? Like a tone for when you're waiting?
13, yeah. So I mean, that's a massive improvement. So I think, I don't want to sound harsh on Hibs fans, but Hibs fans didn't help him. I think Hibs fans have already got their mind made up about him because he's a Hecky signing, and as soon as he made that first one, fans were on his back and fans were out for blood with him, which I know the whole cliche of you're there to support the team can be taken a bit far, but come on, give the guy a chance. He's hardly played any first team football all season. He gets chucked back in a bit unexpectedly, and he had a tough time with the first half. There's no two ways about it, but I respect the fact that he improved the second half.
I'm personally all about effort. If he was trying his hardest, and I never obviously seen the game, so I'm not going to sit here and comment on his performance. I've only seen the highlights, which are him getting skint a lot. But if he's putting in a shift, as cliche as that sounds, and normally for me, I can give him a bit of leeway.
There was no chances to really get excited about. I mean, we had the one where Horgan was through. He's got 4 options. If he slips it to Boyle, as a goal, especially the form he's been on, or he can play it out to Newell, who is facing the right way towards goal, defenders facing the other way. Newell's in, was going to have time to put a good ball across the box, and instead he hit it. He had 4 players to pass to and he hit it, which was really poor decision making from Horgan. That's the thing that lets him down the most, is decision making. Really good player. So that was frustrating, but I don't think we've created anything to get excited about. What's your kind of, looking at the season as a whole then, what's your kind of your thoughts been on, I mean, because there's no point in talking about this because it's a boring game, but what's kind of been your thoughts, maybe more since Jack Ross came in? Have you seen an improvement? Because we moaned loads about chance creation. Have you seen an improvement since Jack Ross came in?
At the start, I thought it was going to be like when we beat Motherwell 3-1 at Easter Road. We then went on and beat Aberdeen. I would say that kind of fell back into what we've been used to under Heckingbottom in the last few matches. There's not been any flair. Build-up's been slow, and I would say it's quite a boring watch. But we've lost a lot of players in the last couple of weeks that would be starting, like Naismith and Porteous. We've lost the kind of fringy players like Shaw. Like, that's who else is away?
Fraser Murray.
No, he wasn't getting a game at all. So, but when Jack Ross changes it, when he's got his own team, then you could probably analyse it a bit more.
So do you think there's maybe a bit of a disruption to the squad?
Yeah, he can't come in and be like, this is how I want to play football with the players that he's got. He just needs to come in and basically do his best. Put a plaster there, a broken leg. Yeah. You know what I mean? Until you can get to the hospital. Stephen,
do you think that's a fair enough excuse for Jack Ross, that we're kind of, even this window alone, we're in a transition, and it might be this time next month before we start to see more of a consistent team?
Well, it depends what he's using this season as. If he's using it as a transition season, fair enough. But he's not. He says that he wants to come out. He says that we can still challenge for Europe, which is obviously unrealistic to me now. Like, the players that have went missing, the only player that I've actually missed is Naismith. Like, Porteous has been hopeless this season for us. Like, I don't even care. Okay. I don't even care what people say about it, right? Because I got him on, but he has. He's probably been one of our worst defenders.
I wouldn't go as far as hopeless.
No, I disagree.
But he has been.
His decision making's been absolutely shocking.
There's been individual errors at points, but overall, I think his game's been. There's little bits here and there in games that'll let him down, and sometimes he hasn't been punished for them. I'll give you that. But there's other times where he's covered well for Hanlon. He's covered well for Naismith when Naismith's bomb forward. I think I've been really impressed with him.
I'd say he's been either really, really good or really rash and erratic in it. So I think he's stood out in every game for a good way or a bad way. I don't think he's had a quiet match where he's just sauntered along.
Yeah. Just quickly to finish up on the Motherwell game. Like I say, Hibs didn't create a lot. Motherwell did a lot of it down the left. We'll kind of talk about. We've talked about James, so we don't need to cover that. It was frustrating because I spoke last time. I've praised Motherwell in the past. I've praised them last week about how they press in threes. They pressed really well as a team. It was really impressive to watch. And Hibs randomly would just snap into a press. And to be fair, Jack Ross has never said anything about a press, so we'll know like we did Hecky. But and Newell would go charging somebody down, and then once they passed it away, he'd stop, and Doidge would go charging somebody down. And it's like, you've got to do it as a team or not at all, or you're just burning energy pointlessly. So that was frustrating to see. So final words on the Motherwell game then. Yes, it wasn't good enough, but I think there's positive signs there. I think there was attempts at a game plan. I think there was reasons to be optimistic despite it being a 0-0 and despite not creating anything. I think there's a step in the right direction, and with a couple of key signings in this window, Hibs can get back on track. Now, later on, we're going to be discussing the Dundee United game, and if we beat Dundee United, we get an away tie, I nearly said home tie, an away tie to BSC Glasgow, although they play in Alloa, but that's a whole other thing. So that game has been announced, will be on the 9th of February, and the podcast is going to be difficult to do that week, because none of us are going to be able to go to it.
No, we're playing in a football tournament.
Yeah. So it's hosted by they're called Team Talk, and I'll just read it out. It's Team Talk are delighted to announce our second football charity tournament, taking part once again at the Oriam, Scotland's Sports Performance Centre. The tournament is a 7-a-side, 16-team format with 4 groups of 4 battling it in 20-minute matches. Blah 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 blah. You get it, basically a knockout tournament. So it's on to raise money for the SAMH, the Scottish Mental Health Charity, for the project Changing Room. Now, the other House podcast, Longbangers, have done a great series covering this, which is great series. Really, I recommend listening to it. And I'll be honest, it's something I've not really felt in a place to talk about, but I attended Changing Room last year. All the shit going on with uni. I wasn't in a good place, and I know a lot of folk, probably think, the podcast was going out every week, and Gav's, hello and welcome to Hibs Talk, and sounds fine. Podcast was a distraction, it was great, but yeah, I mean, Dave, you said you noticed a difference in me for afterwards, your
mood and your attitude and all that generally after you done the change rooms was a lot better. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know, to be fair. You never even spoke about it until you'd went to a first couple of change rooms. I thought you were fine. You never mentioned anything at all. So
did I, though. I mean, that's the thing. I think because I was coming on here and I was being positive and I was, hello and things like that. I was ignoring it and I was, was able to turn it off, but I wasn't dealing with things in a proper way. And yeah, it was great that. So I kind of, something happened with uni, which kind of, and then it was just sort of I won't go into too much detail, but I kind of just sort of burst into tears one night and I was like, fuck, something's wrong with me. Spoke to the doctor and stuff, and then I seen the thing, and Murray has been on this podcast before speaking about the changing room, spoke about how good it was, so I made an inquiry, went along, and I still think I went along not accepting that there was maybe something mentally health wrong with me, but it was really fantastic for, you're hearing all these other guys talking and open up, and you're like, fuck, that's really, you just described me there. you know, it was great for kind of, you know, accepting it, and then I was able to sort of deal with it. And so yeah, I mean, Changing Room was fantastic. You know, men should be talking about mental health more. I feel bad I've not been in a place to talk about it sooner on the podcast and use this platform in the podcast to talk about it more. But yeah, it's so, you know, something we kind of felt when this came up, we felt, you know, it'd be a good opportunity to talk about it. There's going to be a link in this podcast in the description, and we'll put it up on the Twitter to the Just Giving page. So please donate what you can. You know, we'll be talking about the tournament a bit more in the coming weeks. We're quite excited about it. I might have, you know, got my head better, but my back's now fucked, so I don't think I'm going to get to play in the tournament, but I'll be on the sideline, you know, with the oranges and the water bottles, and, you know, the jelly ready to give you a rub down.
To be fair, we'll probably will make the BSC Glasgow game because we'll be pumped at the tournament. Hell of doors, so we'll probably still make it.
I think we'll stick around regardless, but yeah, so I mean, yeah, so I say, like, I'm kind of sorry I've not talked about this sooner, and I've not been in a place to, you know, and I felt like I should open up, but please, you know, people need to talk more about mental health, and this is this Changing Room is just phenomenal. Anybody that thinks they're struggling, next time program comes round, you know, get along to it, and this is going to hopefully raise some money for an absolutely brilliant cause, which, you know, has helped a lot of Hibs and Hearts fans, and, you know, and there's hopes that it can then expand to other clubs and stuff. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, so we're looking forward to that tournament. So we thought we'd share it, and obviously, you know, kind of ramble on a wee bit more from the reaction to the news of when we'll play BSC Glasgow. So yeah, please donate what you can. I know it's not the best time of year to be asking, you know, post Christmas and stuff in January, but please donate what you can to a great cause. Maybe because it's a transfer window, and because, you know, there's been a lot of stuff about Ron Gordon not putting money into the transfer budget and putting money elsewhere, and a lot of people annoyed about that. So there's been a lot of questions about Ron Gordon. So we're going to kind of just sort of wrap them all up in kind of one, I guess. But thanks to Sean and James and Andrew, who all asked about Ron Gordon. So Andrew's questions kind of covers the majority of it. So when are we likely to hear about Ron Gordon's grand plans, and are they likely to be the usual huge anticlimax?
No, I honestly don't think this will be an anticlimax. I don't. I think he will have really big plans, and yeah, I think he needs to, because of how quiet he's been. When will it be? It'll be at the AGM, which I was expecting to have happened by now, or at least been announced.
The last 2 years that I've went, it's been in October.
Yeah. So I would imagine it's going to be announced very soon. Apparently, there's a 2-week notice period before an AGM, so there's not been a notice period yet.
Still waiting on my letter.
So
Willie on Twitter did ask when specifically when is the at Hibernian FC shareholders AGM? Because like you said, last year it was October.
Last 3 years I've went since 2016, and there's not been one outside of October. Now,
yes, we could be frustrated it's not here yet, but if the plan is to unveil a lot of the stuff that they're planning to do under Ron Gordon, is it better to get everything kind of, you know, typed up and everything, you know, get it, maybe even also because of what fans and shareholders are like, get the transfer window out of the way, so maybe that whole transfer budget kind of thing will calm down a bit, because the transfer window's already done.
It's mentioned though, because it goes on the previous year. So all they've done is they've incorporated the fact that we've lost Hecky, we've lost Lennon, and in the period that the AGM covers now, right? We've lost Lenny, we've lost Hecky, we've not got any clear picture on what McGinn's went for and what money we've made off him being promoted with Aston Villa. So to me, it looks like the paper and cracks waiting for finances for McGinn to come through.
What if they're being clever and not wanting the accounts to be shown in January because they're going to be signing players, and folk are going to be like, wait, I've just seen your accounts. Yous are loaded. We want this. They could be doing that. So it could be a sensible approach.
But then when you do that though, if we pass January, we've not made any big signings, and then they turn around and saying, oh, you're loaded, why did you not spend money in January? Like it's
That'll be their own fault though. If they do
exactly,
that.
and this goes back to what we just said about the club creating their own downfall by making silly decisions. Like
You're getting angry for them about something that's not happened yet.
I know.
I'm getting angry over the last, what's happened in the last year.
Getting back to the question there from Andrew about it being an anticlimax.
Yep.
So say they announce a £1 million new indoor facility out at HTC, and they announce some minor stadium improvements, including, because Jamie Murray hinted at some sort of TV. So say like a screen on one of the where the advertisement boards are, a screen up there, and maybe some sort of beer facility or something, because he's always talked about customer service and what customers having good experiences. Maybe some sort of beer tent or something out the east. Would that be enough for you to go, alright, that's cool, that was worth the wait, or would that be a bit an anticlimax?
I'd want some investment in the playing squad as well, because it's like doing up your house. To say you're doing up your house, right, and you own a house and you're renting it out to folk. You want to do up your house absolutely minted and then rent it out to folk that are going to go and live in it, i.e. the players, and the players are not up to much. You wouldn't do that.
So I'm going to flip it on you though, right?
Yeah.
Your store, I don't know how long it was, Dave works in retail, had a big revamp on the inside.
Correct.
Would you rather the money went on that and the store looked class and the customers had a better experience going in, or would you rather the store stayed the way it was before and you've got more money to get better stock in?
I think it's different, because one of them is meant to be providing an entertainment, which that's what football, I know it's a business, but it should be providing some sort of entertainment. I think if that entertainment factor's not there, then it's no Hibs. Because what are we doing if we're not being entertaining? Kicking about the middle of the league, acting like a kilmarnock.
That's what we have been doing. Apart from the spell we got relegated, we have been 6th, 7th, 5th, 6th, 7th, that's 8th.
I expect excitement. So I am excited by the plans at the AGM, because of course I want Easter Road to be minted. I want it to look cool, and if he's got plans for HTC, then fine. But just also have a wee bit of a plan for the playing side of it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yeah. Do you really want big screens highlighting how shite we are on the pitch? Do you want a big bold letter saying Hibs 0, Hamilton 2 at home? Like, do you want a big screen with that? Because unless we've got players,
Steven, I finished 2-1 at Hibs. So
Rangers fans will just put their flags at them anyway.
So the kind of final question on this, I mean, I think there's a lot more kind of to be dug into this, and we'll kind of look into this in the coming weeks. But the news obviously coming out with the HSL, or Hibernian Supporters is what we called. Why is Ryan Gordon asking for fans to contribute more in regards to the former HSL? Although I support for further funds going to the club, when is our new esteemed leader going to put some of his own cash in? He said he wants us challenging. We'll get your cash out, Ron. So that was from Jamie on Twitter.
Yeah, he needs to show more for me to even think about anything else when it comes to Hibs. I wouldn't put a penny in there now until he shows his hand.
Right. But what do you say in response to the point we've made before of Aberdeen and Hearts are getting a lot more money from their HSL equivalents, and all that's going to the playing squad, because that's directly where that money goes, and that's why Aberdeen and Hearts can. That's the main reason they can afford higher wages than us. So our Hearts, to be controversial, our Hearts and Aberdeen fans, because there's more people contributing. Yep. Are they doing a better job of financially supporting their club?
Scheme. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know anything about HSL, the Foundation of Hearts, DNA. Or the DNA thing. I don't, because I've not looked at the models. I, to be honest with you, I don't really care. I feel like I give my season ticket money. I spend an absolute fortune at the football already as it is, because you pre-match pints, you something to eat at half time. That unless a model came to me and went, this is what's going to happen, this is what we would want for you, and this is what you'll get in return. If it's that simple, and I see a viable return for what I'm then putting in on extra on top of my season ticket, then fair enough. That's the only way you'll get in and out of me.
Fair enough. So I mean, I think there's a whole discussion that could be had about HSL, and there's hopefully I'll know a lot more about the AGM. Things will be a lot more rosy, so it is a lot of speculation at this point, but people asking questions, so I had to kind of discuss it. So
transparency, that's what the club needs, and communication.
Yeah,
if you communicate a wee bit more, then
getting on to more football related questions, Joe has asked, should Gullen get more game time, say coming on for Doidge with 20 minutes to go? So obviously he came on for was it Flo he came on for? I can't remember, Flo came on for, I can't remember, Alan might come on for, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he came on and he played on the left wing for for 10-15 minutes against Motherwell. Would you rather see him get more game time up front? And are you excited by the prospect of him potentially sticking around? A young talented player that's done really well at Wraith Rovers.
I want him, if he stays this window and he doesn't go back out and loan to Wraith, then I'd want him to get more game time. I don't want another situation like Ollie Shaw's, where he's coming on for like 10 minutes here and there, and then that's it. That's all he ever achieves.
Aye. Stephen, more game time if he has to stick around? Yeah, agree with that. Would you rather stick around, or would you rather he goes back to Wraith? What do you think would be better for his development?
I think that we need to keep him now.
G Drum had asked, would Paul McGinn be a good signing? Stephen thinks no, and Dave thinks aye, and I think maybe. So that was pretty much what we covered earlier on. Another question about Ron Gordon, which we've covered. So we'll finish up with a couple of them just sort of quick fire then. Tom has asked, will Martin Boyle go to Celtic in this window?
No.
Stephen?
No.
I'm going to say maybe. Ian has asked about Paul McGinn as well as Jason Cummins. Obviously, whether we could see him. I mean, I don't think Jason Cummins is going to come back this window. Somebody else had asked, I'll get their name in a second, whilst you're kind of talking, if he should be coming back this window. But he seems to be doing quite well at Shrewsbury. He's on loan there. And what do you think of his performance last night? Did you see any of it?
Nah, I never seen any. I was working late then, played 5-a-sides myself, but I will not get Jason Cummins back.
Stephen, did you see any of the game?
Yeah, I watched the full game.
What do you think of his performance when he came on?
Massive difference.
Nah.
It showed the kind of player that we got when we had first signed him. Well, not when we first signed him, but when we first got him.
When he had his best spell in the Championship, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
What did you think of his post-match interviews and stuff, like the one where he's wearing the crown when he's getting interviewed by Muse and
I love all that. I think he's class. The only thing he's ever done that's annoyed me is he went to Rangers. See, if he'd rubbed that out of his history, he'd be one of my favourite players.
Although he did say in that interview with the Moose, got asked about big games up in Scotland and stuff, because playing at Anfield, playing a big games, and rather than saying playing in a Scottish Cup final at Hampden, he talked about playing in Old Firm games as the biggest games in Scotland.
Yeah, just panders to the Rangers fans, didn't it? He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Again, more people asking about Paul McGinn and James, which we've kind of covered, and Martin asking, where is the defensive midfield enforcement? So if it's not this French boy, do we need to get what? So we've mentioned right back, striker and defensive midfielder. What if we can only get two this window? What are the priorities? Sorry, twist your question, Martin, since we've already kind of covered a defensive midfielder at the start. But if we can only get two of those three, what's your priorities? Both of these go.
Defensive midfielder and a striker for me.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, but I think we could get past with David Gray and
James.
If worst case scenario.
I just think the days of playing forward thinking football without a defensive midfielder, they're gone from Hibs now.
We're definitely getting Paul McGinn. So
just need to.
But I also think we're definitely going to sign 3. So I would make it all 3.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your questions, and like I say, hopefully we do get a defensive midfielder, because to me that's the priority above everything. We need a bar from Bartley. There's actually a boy doing really well.
Marvin Bartley.
You know what I meant, Marvin Bartley. There's a player actually doing really well in that sort of role at Livingston. Somebody said he was the signing of the season. I think a boy we could look at.
We should just sign him back. What's all the fuss about?
Sign him back.
Sign him back. Be like, come on back, Marv. You'll get your game all the time. Honestly, you will. If you've seen us.
Here's £10 a week.
I don't care how much money.
He's on like a 3-year deal though, so it's not going to happen. We're not going to let him go.
We've got a 36-year-old on a 4-year deal.
Who?
A 34-year-old, sorry.
Aye.
McGregor.
That's for coaching. How many times do we have to go over this?
He's still playing.
And we finish up by looking ahead to Dundee United tomorrow night. Some people might be listening to this after the game, but if not, how are you feeling about the game? Dave, are you excited about a Scottish Cup tie at Easter Road and a replay after being 2-0 down to Robbie Nielsen in the first leg?
What, you going to the Hearts reference?
Hey.
Yeah,
jokes are always the funniest when you explain them.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was a good one, Gav. But I'm excited. I think we'll win 2-0.
Confident.
Yeah, I think probably a day where we'll maybe score and then sit on it a bit and then maybe catch them on the counter when they're pressing us to kill it.
Could the fact that we've played 2 games since last playing Dundee United and they've only had the one played in Dundee United's hands?
Nah, if we're I'm no one excuses like that.
Stephen, what do you think?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I think that we've got a good chance in the sense that we've now got a good record of coming to replays and actually winning them at home.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be my positive. The fact that we played quite average against Dundee United, there was a few changes in the team. If Omiyonga can't play, then that's another player coming back out. I think that over the transfer window, like over the last 6 weeks, we've not really had a settled team, and I think that it just needs to be a wee bit more consistency in performances.
Which will be tough, like you say, if Omiyonga can't play. You know, the whole thing of does Gray come back in or does James play again and you give him more game time and give him a chance, or if you're planning on bringing in McGinn anyway, does it even matter if he's going to go in and play? So it's a bit of there's a lot of questions over the whole team. So since we last played Dundee United, they've lost the young laddie Banks, who's played limited games, and Stanton, former Hibby away to America. So a big blow to them. And the only game they've had in the meantime was at home to Greenock Morton, and they needed Shanklin to score in the 90th minute to get an equaliser.
And that's another thing that worries me, is the fact that he's pretty much scoring every single game now.
He's a dangerous player, there's no doubt about it. He showed that he was very quiet against Hibs.
Yeah, he scored out of nothing against us, and I think there just needs to be a wee bit more we need to be a bit more tight at the back. And I think that from what Dave says about pushing up and nicking a second goal, if that goes wrong, then I think that's got to spell a bit of trouble, because we tend to find that if we're 1-0 up and teams get a goal out of nothing, they start to press against us, and that's where we make mistakes.
Interesting, Robson, Reynolds, that we know from his time at Aberdeen, has been playing all the games and was dropped to the bench for the game at Tannadice against Hibs, and then he came back in afterwards. Do you think that could be Dundee United trying to counter-attack for Boyle's pace? The danger that he possesses. I mean, Reynolds is getting on. He's never been the fastest player to begin with.
Yeah, probably will be.
Which is good to see players, teams reacting to the threat of a player like Boyle.
Yeah, well, they'll do that to... I think every single team that faces Hibs from at the end of the season will see Boyle as the main threat. That'll be what they'll talk about in the build up to the match. Martin Boyle.
Yeah, I mean, he's been on great form. So how would you set up if you're going in to get tomorrow's game? Oh, it's hard to tell because you read different things about who can play and who can't play. Let's go on the assumption that Omiyonga can't play.
I would go Diamond.
Yeah.
Yep, Canberra and Doidge up front together in the middle. No Canberra in the left. The middle.
When we talk about our, you've praised Naismith, Stephen. When you talk about, at my point argument with the Diamond is you need attacking fullbacks. When we talk about Gray and Stevenson struggling for assists, does that worry you playing that formation?
So why not change the Diamond?
To what?
3-5-2, he's going to say.
But yeah, if you say 3-5-2, the fullbacks aren't having, created. You're still relying on fullbacks that haven't been getting assists.
No, he's going to put Boyle.
Exactly,
right wing back.
Boyle is right wing back.
So are you playing centre back then? Because we've only got 3 fit centre backs.
Jackson, Hanlon, and Whittaker.
What if one of them gets
Whittaker?
Whittaker played his best game for us this season against Celtic at centre back.
He's no wrong. He's no wrong. You got man of the match.
You tell me how you can argue against that.
I was in a 2. And he played in a 3-5-2 at Tynecastle and was horrendous.
They're not going to play 3-5-2 though, Stephen. Sorry mate.
Well, that's fine.
Sorry.
And that's what, if we get beat, then that's what I'm going to say.
It was all the fact.
It was all because we should have been playing 3-5-2.
Anyway, yeah. So looking forward to the game.
Yes, I am.
Aye.
Yes, I hope it's a decent crowd. I think the ticket prices should have been lower.
Yeah, should have been.
Would have got maybe a crowd.
Yeah, I mean it's not an excuse. You know, it's Hibs, Dundee United, and the SFA. It's the three of them. The three of them are all involved in that decision making, and
Yep.
they can all point fingers at each other, but they should all be bringing that prices down for a replay for a game. You know that shouldn't have happened. We should have won that game, or Dundee United fans could argue they should have won that game. I mean, I think replays should be banished at full stop, but that's another story.
I can see why they're there, but I do think end of January, the amount of games there is, Hibs should have tried to strike something up with Dundee United and came to an agreement that a lower price was sensible to get a fuller house. Dundee United maybe don't want us to have that advantage though, to be fair.
Over the weekend there with the FA Cup games, 4 different clubs had kids for £1.
West Ham had get a tenner to get in for an adult.
Yep.
I can guarantee you the attendance will be something like, I don't know, 7,000 or something tomorrow.
No, I think it'll be about 12.
Do you?
It's ambitious, I think.
I'm worried because of the price. I think it'll keep a lot of Hibs fans away. And if it's keeping Hibs fans away, are you really making a profit?
Well, if anybody's listening and they're thinking about it, it's the Scottish Cup. It's
Yeah.
Hibs. Come on. There you go.
Thanks for making it to the end of the podcast, folks. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you think we need in terms of the transfer window. Hopefully you're a bit more optimistic about the potential recruits than Stephen is. And obviously a big game against Dundee United, so let's hope that goes well for Hibs. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast, whether that's Apple, Spotify, or the Android ones. Or if you don't have any podcast players of that, you can find it at hibstalk.com. We also have some match preview articles as well. And make sure you follow us on social media at HFC Talk. And if you haven't done it already, tell your Hibs mates to listen if you enjoy this. So thanks for listening, folks. We'll be back on Thursday to look back at the Dundee United game and ahead to who have we got on Saturday. It's went out of my head. Right enough, it's St Mirren, and you never know, that could be Paul McGinn's first game for Hibs against his former team, so that would be an interesting one. But we'll react to hopefully some signings in the podcast later in the week.
Pass me another.